So good to be with you today. I think it's been a few years since I've been at Oasis Church. In fact, this is the first time I've been to this location, but 13 years ago I came and visited and worshiped with the Oasis Church, and so it's been a long time. It's good to be back with you. I have been for the last several years I've been going through a project of trying to get to the churches in our conference who have youth in them to talk about some issues, how we can reach our youth for the Lord. And so what you have in your hand is a little handout. You can fill out some information as we go through it. And again, it's a joy to be here. I'm really excited about the possibilities that we can see with the collegiate ministry. We've tried several times over the years at a conference to have some sort of presence and work with the collegiate age youth. And so far nothing has stuck for long term. So we're looking forward to things that will happen here in the near future. You know, as church groups, we put a lot of time and effort into reaching our young people for the Lord with our Pathfinder groups or Sabbath schools or church schools. And we like, as their children grow older, we enjoy celebrating special events with them, be it graduation services or perhaps even weddings. And as we watch them grow, we want to do whatever we can to help them be able to grow and follow the Lord wherever He's guiding their lives. I'd like to share with you some youth ministry facts, and you'll want to write down some of these figures inside the handout. A lot of people have done a lot of studies on Seventh-day Adventist youth, and this is what we're finding out, and best we can tell. Seventh-day Adventist youth, once they reach young adulthood, half of them stay in the church. We can certainly be thankful that half of them stay in the church. But of course that means that half of them aren't staying in the church. There are three important retention factors. These three factors seem to be very key in having young people stay in the church. When they don't have all these factors, a lower percentage of them generally stay in the church. And these are the three factors. First of all, they need to have a supportive family that helps them in their spiritual life. Secondly, they need to have a church that is supporting them in their spiritual life and development. And thirdly, Adventist education is turning out to be a very important aspect of this. And so when you have these three factors, there's a greater retention rate of young people in the church. In fact, when they have all three of them, that's where we come with the 50%. Okay? Now here's an interesting figure, and I've been working with high school age youth for a number of years, the last 10 years specifically here in Idaho. 70% of our high school youth attend public schools. So as you can see here, we have the three factors, family, church, and Adventist education, but yet 70% of our young people do not have access to that third part. Here is a chart showing the Seventh-day Adventist young people of high school age in Idaho Conference. Now, these figures are approximate because not all 18-year-olds are still in high school, not all 19-year-olds are out of high school, and so forth. But we've taken a 4-year span of people that generally are the age of high school, and we find out that the total number is 429 young people on our records are of high school age. And we've also done a survey, and we discovered that 116 of those 429 are attending Adventist schools, okay? Interestingly, that is, in every year, it shows us this is the same number as those going to Gem State Academy. Not all those 429 are going to Gem State Academy. Some of those 429 are going to, not all 116 are going to Gem State Academy. Some are going to Mount Alice Academy, some are going to Upper Pond Academy, some are going to Walla Walla Valley Adventist Academy. But of course we have other students from other conferences coming to our academy. But so here's our figures. So that leaves 313 who are getting their education in public schools, or perhaps some place in home schools. But that figure is no greater than 20 as we look over the conference. And so most of those 313 are in public education. The percentage figures for the Idaho Conference is 27% received an Adventist education, 73% were getting education in the public sector. And so we're, in the Idaho Conference, we're fairly close to the North American Division average of 70% we're getting public high school education. So here we see 50% of them stay in the church. Three most important factors: family, church, and Adventist education. It reminds me of a three-legged stool. When you put those three factors in there, you have church, family, and Adventist education. For 70% of our young people, high school age young people, there's one leg that is not there, that is missing. And it is possible to sit on a two-legged stool, but it requires a little more time, it requires a little more effort than a three-legged stool. And I'm not saying that all because our young people might be going to public school, this means that we just have to write them off and give up on them. I'm just saying that we need to give a little more time and effort to the other two legs so that we can help retain them for the Lord. This is a picture of my mother and father-in-law sitting down here with all of their children and their in-laws and all their grandchildren. Something like 27 people that they, have below them in age in their family. Now, remember what we said, that 50% of our young people stay active in the church when they get to be young adults. So Frank and Jean McMurray, as they're looking at all their children, their sons and daughters-in-law, as they're looking at their grandchildren, they're gonna keep half of them for the kingdom, right? So let's just go through the process and begin to mark off at least half of the faces in this picture of those who are not going to go into the kingdom with them. And I ask you the question: Frank and Jean McMurray, are they happy with this picture? They're not happy with this picture. Their desire is, of course, to have 100%, all of their children, all of their sons and daughters-in-law, all of their grandchildren to be in the kingdom with them when Jesus comes in the clouds of glory. And as churches, we need to be just as concerned for our young people. We need to do whatever we can to help retain most of our young people we can for God's kingdom. So we're going to look at what the different entities can do. What can churches do to help increase the retention rate for those for our young people? Okay, we mentioned there's a 50% retention rate, the average, out there. And other studies have indicated that the churches, through their ministries, can raise that retention rate to 75–80% greater through some programs. Some people, when they hear this, oh boy, here's gonna be when we hear what we have to pay for. It's going to be really expensive to have these programs to help retain our young people for the Lord. Well, here are some of the things that churches can do. Pathfinder Club. Whoa!